So that's the idea. So directive therapy is that you take charge of the situation and you cause something to happen, and you really think about what it is that I want to cause to happen, that this client will agree is healing and will work within this client's cosmos, and how can I expand their possibilities to make some things possible that weren't possible. And in my opinion, I'm going to do everything in the world I can every time I get together with somebody. I'll go as far out there as they will, but no further. All right, force of habit in a nutshell again, just to kind of refresh your memory. Seems like a good time to do it. Get connection and keep connection. Establish the motivation to change. Identify and disrupt the bad habit pattern. Demonstrate and improve possibility. Sell it to the subconscious mind. Put them in a trance. Hypnotic language. Okay, so here's a close look at hypnotic language. Here's what it is. Hypnotic language is used to intentionally cause an effect and an experience. Because talking without first carefully engaging the conscious mind in an educated way is a serious threat to our mental, emotional, and physical health and well-being. Isn't it? If we don't think about what we're saying and the effect we're having, aren't we potentially having a negative effect on people if we're not thinking about it? I'll tell you something that I've noticed. Remember the negativity bias of the brain and the mind, that your brain and mind are looking for negative stuff anyway. Scan the environment, it's part of our survival mechanism. So, what I've noticed when I hear people talking and they don't know what hypnotic language is and stuff, and effective language, I hear them poisoning each other all the time, saying all kinds of stuff that reinforces all kinds of negative habits. And so listen to that. Listen to what people say. When you're done here, and particularly when you're done spending a weekend practicing it and stuff, it'll really blow you away to think about how we're not trained to think about what an amazing effect we're having on each other just by what we're saying to each other, particularly if we have a connection. If somebody, you should excuse the expression, identifies with you, in learning in developmental psychology, that's what you learn. That somebody, if they identify with you, then they're going to the mirror neurons are going to be firing, and they're going to be entraining to you, and they're going to be identifying with what you say. Well, that could be for better or for worse. You could be, reinforcing somebody for having a low self-esteem and a bunch of dependency issues and whatnot. And the reason I put this up here is, what am I getting from this sign? I mean, has everybody seen this sign? Go to your car and take a look at this. What is this sign saying? I mean, I don't know what you get, but every time I see that, I cringe. I wonder if they changed the wording of that sign, fewer workers would get hit. I don't know. But anyway, so that's why the sort of motto or catchphrase of the Koligan Institute is think responsibly. I mean, that's not there by accident. That's why. Because if you don't think about what you're saying and engage your conscious mind to make a decision about what you want to say, then you might be having an effect that you honestly, if you knew you were having an effect, would rather not have. Okay, so here's what hypnotic language is. It's purposeful. It's trance-inducing. You want someone in a trance. You want basically to put the critical faculty to sleep so the selective thinking can come into play. That's actually true. You want someone to be in a trance that's different from the trance they were in to have the problem, because all these habits really are kind of a trance. Well, you want them to be in a different trance, so you're responsible for that. It's consciousness altering. It's calming. It directs attention, focuses it. It uses positive dress commands and declaratives, which we'll talk about in a minute. And it uses suggestions about identity, perception, and beliefs about what is happening, what is real, and what is possible. Causes an experience that's an improvement over the one that the client came in with. Yes, ma'am.
Well, my experience with hypnosis was very limited, but listening to you when you were guiding us through that, you were very, very fast. It was methodical, but it was a lot faster than what I thought hypnosis, ooh,
yep.
You were getting sleepy, that kind of thing. So, talk about that a little bit.
Well, I mean, you could think of that there's different layers of, and there's different trances that you can be in, and some of them are, I guess, more captivating than others. Some of them are lighter. You can be in a real light trance. You're driving a car, reading a book, mowing the grass. So, but let me finish. Or you can compound and deepen a trance and make it deeper. If you're going to do an anesthetic for somebody, then you're going to get anesthesia, then you're going to compound that trance. You're going to go really deep. You're going to use what Elman calls the hypnotic coma in order to get, because you really have to bypass critical thinking in a big way for someone to think that I don't need an anesthetic to have general surgery.
I don't anticipate I'll ever need it.
Yeah. Well, That's a big one. So there's all different states of trance and all different uses for it. But what I do is as little hypnotic induction as is necessary to get the desired effect. Because, well, one of the things we're going to see is, I'm going to get ahead of it, is that when you're doing hypnotic work, you're effect driven. You're trying to cause an experience, you're going to get an effect. Well, you want to pay attention to what effect you're having. So that's part of it. So when you get the effect you want, enough hypnosis. And if you need a little more hypnosis to get the effect you want, then a little more hypnosis. See, because the effect you want is you want the person to imagine being with a guy and not throwing up, or being at school and not being terrified. And you don't need any more hypnosis than you need, because hypnosis really isn't the way stuff gets done. Because trance work is the way our consciousness shifts and possibilities open up for us all the time. Call it hypnosis or whatever you want. It doesn't have to be done by a professional. You know, we were hypnotized when we got all these bad habits. So, to me, hypnosis is a very natural part of how I talk to people. And a very natural part of especially how I talk to people when they're in my counseling office. Because when I'm talking to my friends and stuff, I'm not trying to get their consciousness to alter. I may be talking to them, I'd be aware of hypnotic language, and I'm not trying to get something to happen for them. But when someone comes into my office and says, help me get better with this, then you bet I'm going to do that. And I'm going to take charge of the process, and I'm going to direct your awareness. And after a while, they're going to not be able to talk anymore. And you're going to be thinking, wow, they're really starting to put this together. And then I'm going to say, go ahead and close your eyes. And then they're going to say, now let's try this and see how this worked. And if that's enough, then that's enough. Does that make sense? Because that's what I was saying at the very beginning. Hypnosis is everywhere, you know, once you study it and do it. So one of the things we will do in a weekend is some hypnotic inductions and stuff. You know, do some actual inductions to find out what it's like to feel that calm, focused sense of being in a trance. And then think about what the usefulness of that is. But realize that, like Dave Ellman says, there's nothing you can't do with someone's eyes closed that you can't do with their eyes open. So I never forget that. So there's open-eyed and closed-eyed trance work, and there's a place for both of them. And I've had whole sessions of people where a bad habit cleared completely, and I never had them close their eyes one time. And they said, aren't you going to hypnotize me?